check the season point standings on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge in the race for the world title. Equalizer's lead is 31 over Bigfoot. Carolina Crusher, the Auto Value King Crunch, and USA 1 round out the top 5. Gravedigger is done for the year. He wrecked his truck on the New York Mini Tour, is building a brand new one, and right now stands number 6 in points. Nightlife is 7th. Then it's that Outlaw Ford of Mike Wine, followed by Awesome Kong and the Buffalo Tremor, rounding out the top 10. We're going to look at some qualifying highlights from Stafford Speedway in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. It's King Kong, and it's a brand new King Kong at that, side by side with the Auto Value King Crunch, or what's left of it. And Kong lays down a good qualifying run, but you saw it right there. Contact at the end of the run as the new suspension on Kong looks a little too loose. He comes over in front, and the Auto Value King Crunch gives him a tap. Watch the end of the run. Boy, Crunch locked up the brakes, but it didn't matter. Kong was coming his way, and those two trucks get together. We're going to look at it one more time. Scott Stevens trying to stop. Look at him lock him up right there. But it's too late. Kong is on it. Doesn't look like any serious damage to either truck.
Scott, you and King Kong got together there at the end of the track. Did everything all right?
Yeah, our truck's all right. You know, his truck's just real squirrely right now. When he gets the bugs out of it, he's going to have a real good truck. But, you know, last week in Ohio, he couldn't keep it down the track straight. And, you know, I was kind of ready for it. And didn't do our truck no good by getting on the brakes so hard. But, you know, our truck's all right.
Let's talk about your truck. When are we going to see the full King Crunch back in action?
Next week, it'll all be 100% again.
Good luck to you tonight, Scott.
Thank you, Chris.
Boy, there's Steve Kane, the driver of King Kong. And, you know, Scott Stevens talking about getting on the brakes hard. If he wouldn't have, we would have had a serious crash at the end of that run. First round highlights coming up next here on ESPN. TNT Monster Truck Challenge, matching the superstars of monster truck racing side by side. We're at Stafford Springs, Connecticut, and the Auto Value King Crunch, minus a little sheet metal, takes on Dave Wysoric's beautiful new Nightlife Chevrolet. And the Auto Value King Crunch may not look real pretty, but it gets the job done. Scott Stevens with the victory. Let's watch it again on the replay. As on the second set of cars, the King Crunch ride, smooth as silk, takes the victory over Dave Wysoric. We get another look at it from a different angle, and you can see that the Auto Value King Crunch really doesn't have too much of a problem with Dave Wysoric's Nightlife Chevrolet. Scott Stevens wins it. Here he is with Chris Chapman.
Scott, congratulations on what looked to be a pretty easy victory.
Yeah, as ugly as that Auto Value King Crunch Special is, it's still running really good, you know, and you know, it was a win that we needed to get by. You know, the truck's running real good tonight. Ran into Kong in qualifying and did really hurt our truck none. So maybe we got a little momentum, can keep on going. You know, last couple of races we've been running real good, so maybe it's going to be our time this week.
Good luck.
All right, thank you.
The Auto Value King Crunch running strong, despite, as Scott Stevens noted, it not looking at 100% here in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. Stevens will be back a little bit later. First round competition now, matching a couple of old war horses, if you will. These guys have battled several times in the past. Chevrolets out of Georgia. It's the Clydesdale out of Minnesota. USA 1. Steve Wilkie in USA 1 with the big lead. In the middle, he's in trouble. Oh, no, he's going over again. The 9th time that this truck has been on its roof. Steve Wilkie and USA 1 winning, but flipping in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. Wilkie looks okay. He is up talking to his crew chief, who is already over there. John Kwasniewski, the Buffalo Tremor team, out trying to help him out. Bennett Clark is the other driver with a helmet on in the Clydesdale. He's the driver who lost to USA 1 on that run. The ambulance coming out, but Wilkie's okay. Well, at least he's okay physically. He looks angry at more damage done to the Chevrolet out of Ham Lake, Minnesota. Acknowledging the crowd, but Wilkie not happy about it. Look at it. Let's see if we can pick up what happened here on the replay. Wilkie was in control of this race the whole way as the lead over Clydesdale. Boy, he didn't hit the second set right. That's what cost him. It looks like he just did not get his left side up the ramp properly. So he went up the ramp at an angle, came down at an angle, and over he goes. Wow. Rod Litzow drove that truck to the '88 World Championship, but he flipped it in winning the championship at Louisville's Freedom Hall. Then Litzow had several problems with it in '89, flipped it several times. Wilkie took over, but the truck has not stayed on all fours any better. And again, that's a total of 9 flips for that truck. We're going to get another angle, as again our crew has done a masterful job of capturing the problems of USA 1 from every angle possible. And Steve Wilkie's USA 1 on its route. There you see Steve. And this is certainly going to add more fuel to the fire of debate about that truck, about its safety, and about whether it should be running on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. That truck keeps flipping. They keep sending it back to Minnesota. Everett Jasmer, Steve Wilkie, and the entire crew, no question, do a great job about getting it fixed and keeping it fast, but they can't seem to keep it on all 4 wheels. Is it the truck? Is it driver error? Well, you would think it's not driver error, because despite the fact whether it was Rod Litzow or Steve Wilkie, the fate seems to be the same. The truck is super fast, but it has trouble staying right side up. The loader will pull it back up. Boy, you can see fluid just pouring out of it. And we have seen the last of USA 1 on this night in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. Wilkie and his crew will now begin trying to rebuild the truck here in Connecticut to try and have it ready for more action in less than 24 hours on this track. But right now, it's Wilkie trying to survey the damage and certainly trying to see exactly what has to be done to keep this truck ready to race. Or will they have to ship it back to Everett Jasmer Stable in Minnesota? Well, Steve Wilkie is away from the truck. He's back on pit road, and Chris Chapman is tracking him down. Let's go down to Chris.
Steve, I don't think 9 times charm.
No, Chris, I don't know. I don't know what I have to do. The field's running so fast. I got a hammer on it, and again, I don't know what happened. I know I was crossed up in the middle and just stayed in the throttle, tried to drive it around. The True Value Chevrolet, she's tough. We're going to do everything we can tonight to try and put it back together. You know, I don't know what to say. Everett Jasmer and Greg Knutson and everybody, Mark Gerard, my crew chief, everybody back at the shop, they worked their tails off. And I just don't know what to say, Chris.
Steve, is there any point, this has happened to you an awful lot, is there any point where you say, oh no, this is it, it's over?
Well, Chris, it's my job to not only drive them, but to build them too, so I'm responsible too. I don't know what happened. The front studs snapped out the springs, but again, you know, I personally, of course, would like to see a new truck out, but that's up to the boss. I got to do with what I got right now.
Well, supposedly there are new USA 1 trucks being built in Hamlin, Minnesota, but so far they keep patching up this old one and sending it back. Here's what it got patched up from. June 16, 1990, not so terribly long ago. Steve Wilkie snaps the wheels right out from underneath this truck in Richmond, Virginia at Richmond International Raceway. That's what they had to take back to the shop. They put it back together, and it flips tonight in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. So the USA 1 truck in familiar ground, and strangely similar, those two crashes, weren't they? It looked like the front end buckled both times, although that time it ripped completely the whole axle assembly and wheels out from underneath. This time they stay intact, but USA 1 is on its route. Wilkie leaves, but we're ready for more first round competition as Bigfoot number 8, Andy Brass, takes on Mike Wine in the Outlaw Ford. Bigfoot's in trouble. He had to get on the brakes, and Outlaw has beaten him. Mike Wine, the Outlaw Ford, with a huge upset over Andy Brass, and Bigfoot number 8 again. The handling problems that were not evident running short courses for this truck inside over the winter fight him again on a long course outside. Andy Brass and Bigfoot, trying to make up precious ground in the points, will lose critical points here. Well, there you see it. He had to get out of the throttle, and that's all Mike Wine and the Outlaw needed. One of the biggest victories ever for Mike Wine and the Outlaw Ford team. Wow, let's watch it again. Coming to the finish line, Mike Wine holds on, and he wins it by the length of one wheel over the Bigfoot Ford. And And the crowd is stunned in Stafford Springs, Connecticut, as Mike Wine has upset the big Ford. And Bigfoot may be done unless he can get back in from a fast loser rule. Well, there you see him taking a look now at the Outlaw. That's Nick Rossi, who owns the team. Obviously some problems in the engine compartment of the Outlaw Ford. But Mike Wine's got to have a big smile on his face. He has come up with a victory over Bigfoot. Chris Chapman's in the pit. Chris?
Everything off there. That's incorrect.
Mike, you've been flying 100 miles an hour for a big victory over Bigfoot, but now you're saying you're out?
Yeah, here's what happened. There's a small piece of metal and an adapter. It bolts to the bottom of the crank to run the blower, run the power steering, to run everything. It broke in half on a second set of cars. We have other ones that are stock, but as you can see, the two difference in the cranks from a kryptonite crank and a standard bore 460 is about an inch difference. Now, 1 inch makes all the difference in the world when you're out here running. Foot's going to be able to come back, but it builds a lot of confidence in a person and everybody else now who I'm running with. And when I run him from now on, I know in my heart I can beat the man. Even though he got squirrely, got off the brakes, I can still beat him. Anybody can mess up.
So we haven't seen the last of Mike Wine and the Jersey Outlaw.
We'll be out this evening, but we'll come back and we'll fix it right. Do it the way it should have been done the first time. We'll be back. That's all.
We're sorry to hear about the bad luck, but congratulations on the victory.
Thank you very much, Chris.
The quarterfinal round of competition will have Bigfoot back in it, and it's coming up next. We got to look at some Ford action. Let's take in some Chevrolet competition here in Stafford Springs. Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher out of Wadesboro, North Carolina, will meet another Chevy, the Wild Hair. Starvin' Marvin Smith out of Arnold, Missouri. You may remember Marvin is the old driver of the Stafford Chevy. And he pushes Carolina Crusher to the limit, but Gary Porter holds on for the victory. Marvin Smith has not been having a good year on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. He's got to be awfully happy with that run, almost pulling the upset over Gary Porter. But the Carolina Crusher takes the victory. He wins it over Marvin Smith and the Wild Hair Chevrolet, although Wild Hair's got nothing to be disappointed about. We're going to go down to Mike Goss. He's with Gary Porter, who had a much smoother run this time than in the first round. Mike?
A little more under control that time, Gary.
It is. You know, I come off the line a little bit harder, and I tried to turn the motor a little bit harder to try to get some more speed, and I think I jumped a little bit further that time and missed the hole there at the end that, you know, really messed me up the last run.
All these trucks braking and everything tonight. You're in a pretty good position in this bottom bracket.
I am. I'm pleased, you know, right now with the truck where I'm at, you know, and the way it's running. I just hope I can keep on and take the win tonight.
Mike, I think you really hit on what may be the big factor tonight. What truck can survive? There's so much breakage. Here's a perfect example. This new King Kong already tonight has suffered a broken drive shaft. He's having brake problems. And in the first round win over Buffalo Tremor, he broke the stabilizer bar. All that's adding up to the fact that King Kong is rolling out basically in a lame condition just to pick up some points. This ought to be an easy win for the Clydesdale Chevrolet to go up against Kong. Now, John Kwasniewski and the Buffalo Tremor, we're being told, was supposed to run this race. Instead, Kong is allowed to come to the line, obviously unable to race. It's an easy win for the Clydesdale and Bennett Clark, but we're going to go back to the pit and develop the story with John Kwasniewski of the Buffalo Tremor. His truck lost to King Kong, but since Kong was broken, supposedly, Kwasniewski was going to be allowed to come back. Instead, they decided to let Kong come out, and really, he had no business out there running, except for the fact that he was trying to gain a few points.
John, we watched a very lame King Kong make a run out there. That should have been you, or could have been you.
It could have been me. It was supposed to be. It was already on the bracket sheet. It was all lined up. His truck was totally trashed underneath. I mean, he broke. You could see it the way the run was right there. I mean, this is a sport. If you want to put on a good show, you don't run trucks like that that are broken.
Do you feel like that you were unjustly treated in that call and that it should have been the Buffalo Tremor out there running Clydesdale?
Yeah, I think it should have. I mean, we've set up meetings and we have rules about this already, and they're not enforcing it. I don't know what to say. I've talked to 10 different people already before that run went, and they said that's the way it's going to stay.
Johnny K's unhappy, but he's out. The semifinals are coming up next. King Crunch is at the starting line. The equalizer looks like he's there as well, but he's not. He's a few feet off the starting line, so he can't start the race. And there you can see a great shot from that camera angle. That equalizer has not pulled to the starting line. Now, Both trucks are shut down. Equalizer should be on the 5-minute clock, but we're not getting an indication. We're trying to listen to radio traffic, but I haven't heard anybody say he's on the clock. The rule by TNT is once one truck pulls to the starting line, the other truck has 5 minutes to get to the starting line, or it becomes a disqualification, a bye run, if you will. That truck is knocked out. Now they're going to pull the equalizer away from the starting line. Well, what's going on out there? There should be a race coming off, but we're hearing that they're going to make the Auto Value King Crunch back off the starting line as well. Now, this does not seem like, according to the rules, something that should be happening, because there should be a race. Crunch is staged. Someone should have to race at this point. They are backing both trucks away and calling the Carolina Crusher and the Clydesdale to the starting line. Boy, Scott Stevens has never been one to mince words. I got to believe he's not going to like this. Chris Chapman is going over to get a word with him. Chris, let's see what's happening down there.
Scott, what do you think of TNT's decision to go on and take you off the line once you were ready to race Equalizer?
Well, it's a stupid. We've done this many times. Once this one truck here I staged, that round had to be done. I mean, if Equalizer couldn't come, Bigfoot had 3 minutes to get to the line. Now, they've gave everybody plenty of time, and, the only one that's getting the raw deal is us. That's no big deal. We're going to race everyone who comes to the line, but, these rules change every week, so that's what we have to live with.
Well, Scott Stevens explained it very well. Once Equalizer ran out of his 5 minutes, which should have happened if he would have been put on the clock because King Crunch was staged, they would have called Bigfoot. Bigfoot would have had to jump right up there, obviously. Now, both trucks are getting a lot of time to work, and Scott Stevens should have had an advantage right there that he's not going to get. One of those trucks, either Equalizer or Bigfoot, will race King Crunch. We just don't know who, because we're about to go to this matchup between the Carolina Crusher and the Clydesdale. The winner of this goes to the Monster Smash Final. Showtime! Man, the Clydesdale really pushed Gary Porter, but Carolina Crusher has earned himself a berth in the Monster Smash Final. Let's watch it again. Gary Porter's Crusher got all he wanted from an old thorn in his side. Some of Bennett Clark's biggest wins in the Clydesdale have come against Carolina Crusher, but this time it was not to be for Bennett Clark. Crusher wins it, and Gary Porter is in the Monster Smash Final. He will be opposed in that championship matchup by either the Auto Value King Crunch or the Bigfoot Ford. That's right, Andy Brass, who lost in the first round, who lost in the quarterfinals, gets to come back in the semifinals because Equalizer chose not to come to the starting line. Let me try to explain this quickly. If Equalizer would have went ahead and pulled to the starting line, he would have gained at least 3 points as a loser. Now he gets none for that round because he pulls away, and Bigfoot, even if he loses, will get 3 more points. And that's all he's going to get. The Auto Value King Crunch, despite the fact that the rules were bent to allow Bigfoot to come to the line, still, Auto Value Crunch wins it, and Scott Stevens has got to be ecstatic. You know how much he wants to beat Bigfoot, and he gets it done right there. Big, big rivalry, and the Auto Value King Crunch makes it 3 straight losses for Bigfoot. But again, because the Equalizer chose not to come to the starting line, Bigfoot actually gains in points on the night, despite the fact that he did not beat a soul here in Stafford Springs, Connecticut this time out. It's a 6-point swing. The 3 points Equalizer could have gotten and didn't, and the 3 points that Bigfoot did. But the winner was Scott Stevens and the Auto Value King Crunch. He's got to be happy. We'll find out how happy. Mike Goss is with him right now. Mike?
You got to feel good about that.
Yeah, after getting pretty well rooked on the starting line, these rules they make up every round, it was going to really be hard for Andy to beat us because we had so much adrenaline built up for sitting there for so long. Our truck's running really good, Auto Value Cobra seats, racing radios. Hey, that wax shop, there isn't much body, but it's slick what we got. Hey, we're going.
Did you feel like that was an injustice that you were already on the starting line and you were ready to race and Equalizer couldn't?
Yeah, well, it cost us a race in Nashville in ’88. And one of the trucks, knew we had problems, went to the line. I couldn't make the call, so the guy got a free run. I went to the line. I didn't know he had a problem. We were both really staged, so the race should have happened. TNT.
Bigfoot hadn't won a race tonight.
Yeah, Bigfoot ain't won nothing tonight.
Scott Stevens, the outspoken one, but the Auto Value King Crunch has earned his way to the Monster Smash Final. He's got to meet the Carolina Crusher, though. It ought to be a dandy Monster Smash Final, and it's coming up next. We have seen, over the course of this last year on ESPN, the Auto Value King Crunch win a lot of head-to-head matchups. But what we have not seen in a full year is Scott Stevens take an overall race victory. In other words, winning the championship through the brackets, race after race, and taking one night of competition, being declared the Monster Smash Finals winner. He has that chance to do it right here. It's been almost a year since Nashville, 1989, decided the last victory for Scott Stevens. He has to go up against a truck who has been there. The Carolina Crusher, several victories in 1990. He hopes to make it another one. This is the Monster Smash Final in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. And it's underway. The monkey is off Scott Stevens' back. He has found a way back into victory lane with a win over the Carolina Crusher. It's the Auto Value King Crunch and Scott Stevens on top in Stafford Springs, Connecticut, almost a year to the day after his last victory. Let's see what this does in terms of the 1990 points race. Because Equalizer did not go to the starting line in the semifinals, Bigfoot has pulled to within 15 points. The Carolina Crusher is a solid third. The Auto Value King Crunch, though, gained on it tonight. The Kong trucks are combined into the number 5 spot. That's the original King Kong and the Awesome Kong truck. USA 1 is now 6th. Then it's Nightlife, Gravedigger, the Outlaw, and the Buffalo Tremor, rounding out the top 10. Here's Mike with Scott Stevens.
Scott, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Oh, man. It's been a year this week. Nashville, we won 2 nights down there last year. It's a year ago, and hey, we're right back there. And the truck's been coming around all year, and hey, tonight we beat everybody. We beat 3rd place, 2nd place, and 1st place. Hey, there's no doubt, if we can just keep our stuff together, hey, Auto Value and Cobra seats and racing radios, we're going to be there at the end. Truck's running good. We heard a few parts in that round, but hey, we'll be back next week.
Got to feel pretty confident.
Oh, yeah, that was a runaway. I never saw him. We were out there going the last set of cars. We already knew he had it going, and the truck was getting quicker and quicker every pass, and I really don't like these fast tracks. I'm intimidated by the speed we turn here, but, we got through it tonight. The truck's in good shape, so we're ready for next week.
All right, congratulations.
All right, thank you.
It has been one wild night of competition at Stafford Springs, Connecticut. No wins for Bigfoot, but he still made the semifinal round. USA 1 flipped and badly damaged that truck. And for the first time in a year, Scott Stevens wins the event, as it is the Auto Value King Crunch coming away the big victor here tonight in action at Stafford Springs, Connecticut. One more time, the victorious run for Scott Stevens and the Auto Value King Crunch. He gets the victory over the Carolina Crusher. From Mike Goss and Chris Chapman, I'm Scott Douglas. We can't wait to see you again right here with the TNT Monster Truck Challenge on ESPN.